Hi and welcome to RCKicks. On today's show, well, we're going to be building an RC. Hey, nothing new, I hear you cry. Well, it's going to be a little bit different. It's a Lego RC. Now, bear with me. The reason I decided to get this on the show was I don't know whether this is a good stepping stone for a youngster before you get them a full-blown kit. So it gives them a bit of a taste of building something, still an RC, but before they go into doing screws and bolts and stuff like that. So in this episode, the plan is we're going to unbox it, take a look at it, then we're going to build it, then we're going to take it for a run at the skate park. Yeah, but bear with me, it's not so we can smash it up, it's just nice and smooth, and I don't think this has any suspension. So I think that pretty much covers the basis of this video. So yeah, let's get on with it. Right, so let's take a look at it. Now, apparently, it's supposed to be a Porsche GT4. Yeah, I suppose. No, but hey, there we go. Right, let's open it up. So, first thing all, we get the manual. Lego manuals are usually, I mean, God, look how many pages this is. But usually it's only one step per page to keep it as simple as possible. So, and it's all colour and everything, so it shouldn't be too difficult to put together. So we have a nice hefty manual. Also, I get the feeling what they've done is you've got like bag 3. And then what's this? You've got bag 5. So it's really easy. They've actually separated every single step into a different kind of zip bag that's just paper, really. So we've got loads of those to do. Up to 6. Then we've got some rims, a few little bits and pieces, no idea what they are. Tires, so you actually get rubber tires, which you kind of understand, being that it isn't actually an RC that needs to move, so that kind of makes sense. We got some Porsche stickers, and then what's this here? What's this? Is this the actual unit? Because I was wondering whether you could actually pimp it or change something. I've no idea, so let's have a look. But I think it's all one sealed unit to make it easy. So steering comes out of here, battery connects at the bottom, and then there's the out drives. So yeah, it seems to be a very sealed unit. So I'm pretty sure there's not a lot we could actually do. Right, let's get to page 1 and build the thing. So this is a totally new one for me. Not that I build Lego at all. So I haven't built any Lego in years, let alone any modern kind of Lego. So it's interesting to see that you get these bags. I know you will probably like, yeah, they've been doing them for ages, but this is the first time I've seen them. And then you get the little bags inside, which give you the little connectors and stuff like that. So my kind of plan was to do like I do when I build a kit, and to separate them into little troughs and then just build it that way, and it kind of works. So basically everything is built off of the actual motor and receiver box thing. Now there's no suspension at all in this, so I was quite surprised at that, being it's an RC, that it's got no springs or nothing. Everything is just bolted straight to this box. Now, being that it's Lego, the instruction manual is very basic. Literally every single step is a whole new page, which was brilliant to find out when it comes to editing, as there's hundreds of pages that I needed to take screenshots of and then edit up so that you can see the process of what I'm building versus the actual page in the manual. So yeah, that was fun. Anyway, obviously one side of the car is pretty much exactly the same as the other. Now, coming out of this box, you have the drive that just goes straight through and then goes straight into the wheels. So there's no kind of universal drive shafts needed or anything like that. It does have a diff. I was quite surprised. I thought it might just be a solid axle all the way through, but no, it does have a diff in that box, but you can't open it up to take a look at it. Now, I'm currently working on the steering. Now, a shaft comes out of the front of the drive box, just goes into a housing, and then there is a gear on it, and then it goes into a rack. It's pretty much as straightforward as that. You don't have to set endpoints or anything. Not sure how it figures out that that's the maximum travel. I honestly don't know. I guess it's to do with the software. It's already pre-programmed. So that's the basic steering housing, and then we just attach that straight to the drive box, and then it kind of comes together. One aspect of this build that concerned me a little bit if you were going to give it to a younger person was a lot of the time that you're building up this car, it doesn't actually look like a car at all. And as we go through now, you can see it doesn't really look like anything. You know, it's not built in a way that you would actually set up a real car or a model car. It's just a box with a ladder frame chassis coming off the front of it. So until you start putting on the outside skin, it doesn't really look like a car. So if it was a younger person that was going to be building this, I could see them kind of getting a bit disheartened that they're spending loads of time building this, but it barely looks like anything. So now we moved on to building up the outer front hubs, which is give us our steering. There's a little bit of slop in it, but hey, what do you kind of expect? This is Lego, right? Right, now that's all the steering put together. There's just some bracing to go in to make sure things don't flex and come loose. And then we can move on to a part that actually resembles a car. So we're almost coming to the end of bag 1, and in bag 2 basically we start focusing on the rear of the car, which at the end of the build is probably my favourite part. But before we do that, there's this little dash section that we need to put together before we can move on. So even though it doesn't really look like a car yet, we do have a basic rolling chassis. We have steering and we have drive. I could actually just put the wheels straight on it and it would move like this. But you see what I mean by it just looks like nothing at the moment? So now we move on to bag 2 of 6, and a lot of these parts are the bits that go in between the outside skin of the car and the main chassis that you see here. So again, not exactly making the car look too much like a car, but you've got to put in all these little brackets that come off of the main chassis so that then lines up with the arches for the wheels, the bonnet, the lights, that kind of stuff. One thing I did notice on the drive box at the back is there's 2 more outs which rotate, so I'm not sure what that would be used for. I couldn't get them to actually do anything. You can see them there, those 2 little red sections. So I'm guessing this unit can be used for other things, but I don't know how you would activate them. When I downloaded the software from my iPhone, it just gave me drive and left and right. So that's the rear bumper mounting bracket done, and then everything on the back of the car bolts off of this. Hi, sorry to interrupt your viewing pleasure of the Lego GT4 build. Just to let you know, I'm currently raffling off a brand new in box Tamiya Avanti for a couple of dollars, couple of euros, couple of pounds. So if you'd like to be in with a chance to win this, also I'm doing a totally free raffle, cost you nothing, for a Tamiya Wild One or Fast Attack, depending what you can find in your country. So I'll put a link in the description. You can go over there and you can enter for nothing, and you could have a brand new RC for Christmas. So what are you waiting for? Sorry, let's get back to the Lego video. Right, so whereabouts have we got to now? Well, we're about to go on to bag 3, and we've almost finished the rear section of the car. We've just got to fit a few more plates. Now, I have to say, skipping ahead a bit too far, but the rear of the car turned out to be my favourite part. I think that whole diffuser underneath, that looked really good, and the way it was rounded around the back and the spoiler, I liked that. That's the section that I thought they actually really nailed it. As for the rest of the car, well, you just have to wait to the end of the build to find out. Do like the lights. The way they did the lights is very clever. That box that controls everything has got optical out. Then you have this plastic tubing, which is like fiber cable, and basically it's flexible too. So all you do is plug it in, then you route it to where you want to have the light, and it's done. Very easy. I think you could do a lot more with that, but it was nice to see that you've got some lights on the back. I don't think they actually come on and off as you brake. I think they're just on. Not sure. We'll have to check at the end. And then you get some headlights as well. Don't expect them to be super bright, but it gives you another level of detail, I guess. Right, now we've actually done a big section on the rear, we now turn our attentions to the sides. Now this whole car is basically a skin attached to the main section in the middle. So there's a lot of parts that branch out on each side, which is what anchors the actual skin of the car. So that's what we're doing right now. We're doing the sides. There's obviously you've got to mirror one side to the other, and then that's the whole bracket that we're kind of doing now, and then we can move on. The build as such improves once you get all these in place, and then you start doing the bits that actually look like a car when you start doing the doors, the wings, the bonnet, the boot, that kind of side. But right now we're making up all these mounting parts and they don't look like anything. So now that we've done those side brackets, we can fit that to the chassis, I'm guessing you're going to call it. Then we do the lower rockers, if you will, or lower seals if you're in the UK. And that gives you the kind of width of what we're going to be working to. And then the doors sit on top of those seals. At this point, this could be anything. If anything, it kind of looks like it's going to be a spaceship. Now, for me personally, having all these different colours, again, is another step to distracting you from building what was supposed to be a RC car. Now, granted, I know before you jump in the comments, yes, it's done like this to make it easier for younger people to build the car, having all these different colours, it helps in the manual. I understand that, but for me, it's just like a rainbow of colours that you would never see. Ideally, I'd like to see lots of different greys, dark, like black, dark grey, light grey, and then maybe one colour would have been cool. But being that there's just hundreds of random different colours, again, later on you don't see a lot of these, I guess, so that kind of takes away from that side of it. And I know it's Lego, but this is supposed to be an RC car made of Lego, and also it's supposed to be a replica of a real car. So make of that what you will. But if it drives reasonably well for an RC, now again, I'm not expecting it to be doing 35 miles an hour. Obviously, it's made of Lego, but it still needs to perform as an RC car and be fun. So we'll find out later on in the video when we take it running. Now we move on to doing some parts that actually resemble a car. Yeah, we're now doing the top of the wings with the air intake stickers. So we have got some front arches. Now you can see what I mean by it's just a skin. What's underneath doesn't actually represent a real car in any way, but once you start putting all the skin pieces in, it slowly evolves into a car. If the skin pieces were a different shape, you could have made it into a space shuttle or something. Right, so that's pretty much the roof section. We've just got to put some decals on to give that blue stripe through the middle. Then we attach the rear deck, or whatever you want to call it. I do like the spoiler on the end, like I said before. It does give it that kind of kick up, which looks really good. Then we can mount this onto the car, and then that's the whole top section done. And it finally starts to look like a car. Yep, there we go. So we mount that. Very easy, just clips on, and then all we've got to do next is put the rear arches on. Now we've already attached most of the brackets previously in another step, so we can just clip them on. Then after we've done that, we've got to do exactly the same on the other side, and then we move on to the doors. Right, so now we move on to the last bag in the series, bag 6, and we're finally on the home straight. Yeah, there's this flexible part that goes on the rear that gives it that kind of curve. Then we've got to fit the rear spoiler and the stickers on it. Just clips straight on. Very easy to do. Didn't have any issues with it falling off while I was driving it later on. Then we've got to build up the doors. Obviously, it's just a mirror from one side to the other. It's a few different parts to give it that curve. There's a few stickers to put in, and then there's the pin for the hinge. Then we close the doors, and they open and close. A bit of a shame that there's no seats, which if you've got opening doors, putting some internal seats would have been nice, adds another layer of detail, but not in this kit, I guess. Then we've got the bar across the front, and then we just got to build up around the windscreen area. I was a bit concerned on how you would turn it off and on, as well as charge up the battery that's in the main unit, but you actually open the door and then you just plug in the cable. The power switch for the car is actually on the underside, so you just flip it over, press the button, hold it down, and then it starts up. Now, as the build's coming to a bit of a close, we've got to start thinking, where are we going to drive this? Now, you can drive this inside and outside, but realistically, a decent room that's got a tiled floor or a wood floor would be a better way to go. But you can drive it outside, and that's what I'm going to do. Now, I did think that being that it's got no suspension, it's going to be really hard, and if it's bumpy, it's not really going to work. So I thought of a lovely smooth surface to run it on, and then I waited until it was dry. But there you go, that's the build finished. Yeah, so believe it or not, I'm actually out at the skate park with it, but don't panic, no, I'm not going to run it around the skate park. The reason that I brought it here is it's very smooth. Now, this doesn't have any suspension, so I couldn't think of anywhere better to run it than on this smooth section here. Not expecting much, so let's run it and see what happens, I guess. Yeah, this is pathetic. That's got to be the slowest skate park run of an RC ever. So yeah, let's head back into the studio for my last final thoughts on the GT4 Lego RC car. So if you haven't guessed already, my reviews on this Technics Lego RC car, don't go anywhere near it. These are the reasons why. One, as an RC car, it's 2-3 mile an hour maximum. It needs to have another gear to go a little bit faster. And I know what you're going to say in the comments, yes, but it's a Lego RC. Yes, it is an RC, so it should be able to move more than just pushing it. Now, obviously, if you're going to drive it in the house, you'd want it to go at that speed, but it should have another speed. It definitely needs at least double that. It's quite strong, and yes, sure, if you smash into something, it's going to break, but that would be the same for anything. So it definitely needs a 2-speed. That is just insanely slow. The other side of it, and the main one, is the build experience is terrible. You're building this random thing that doesn't look like anything until you put the skin on, and then it becomes a car. So the experience of building a car doesn't happen until you put these little fake bits on. And the third thing, it's supposed to be a Porsche GT4, and it doesn't look anything like it. Now, there are some amazing kits out by Lego that represent cars, and they look stunning. This one, no, total failure. The doors are weird, they're in too far, and it just looks a total mess. So it fails on quite a few. It fails on the build experience, fails on what it actually looks like when you finished it, and it fails as an RC car. So yes, don't go anywhere near this. Also, from a build point of view, my idea was that it was going to be between getting, say, a Tamiya lunchbox or something like that. Just get that. The build experience of that is no harder than this. And whereas that, you're building it up, and then you end up with a much better RC in the first place. So yeah, Lego, you failed terribly on that. Now, in my defense, where this stemmed from is my son was a big Lego fan a good few years ago, and he actually owns this. This has been sitting on one of his shelves for years. Now, when I saw this, I thought it's going to be like this, but motorized. Now, this is brilliant. This is obviously not based on any car, but this is a really good car build. What do I mean by that? Well, it's built like you build a car. It's got arms, it's got a diff you build, it's got suspension, it's got an engine in the back with pistons, it's got steering, it's got a bonnet, and it's got wishbones. This is much more like an actual car. The doors open, there's seats, there's a steering wheel, there's a roll cage. This, motorized, would be 10 times better than this, because you are building up a car and how a car goes together, and you end up with a car that's got way more detail, and then if you could drive this, it would be fantastic. So that was my idea, that I thought if this was motorized like that, this would be a brilliant stepping stone to then getting an RC. But things have definitely gone backwards. I don't know where this kit, you know, whether you can still buy this. I don't think so. I'm not sure. Honestly, don't know. But that was the idea for this video. But I have to say, out of all the videos that I've made over all the years, this is the biggest flop video. And also, for me personally, editing up a Lego build is very long-winded and it takes forever. So not only did I fail on showing you a product that I thought was good enough that could be a different way to go, maybe we won't do any more Legos, which is a shame because I really wanted to do the Formula 1 Lego. But that was not an RC, that was just a Lego build because I'm a big Formula 1 fan. Anyway, there we go. See you on the next one. God, that was so bad.